Ever stand in front of a painting and feel like it's pulling you in? Like it's demanding you stop, look closer, and really see it? That's exactly what happens when you lay eyes on Daniel in the Lion's Den by Briton, Rivière. This painting doesn't just sit quietly on the wall. It whispers, it stares, and it lingers in your mind long after you've walked away. Alright, let's take a look. Front and center, you've got Daniel. He's not cowering. He's not pleading. Nope, he's standing tall, his back to us, hands bound behind him like he's about to face judgment. His posture says it all. He's calm, steady, unshaken. You'd think he'd be terrified given what's surrounding him. And by what's surrounding him, I mean lions. A whole pride of them. Some are roaring, some are prowling, and some are just watching. Not in a friendly, hey new guy kind of way. More like, is this dinner or are we waiting? Every lion has its own vibe. There's a dominant male right in the middle, mane glowing in the dim light like he's the star of the show. Off to the side, there's a lioness crouched low, eyes locked on Daniel. Not quite ready to pounce, but definitely thinking about it. Then there's one in the back, looking disinterested, like he's seen this play out before. It's these small personal touches that make Rivière's work so memorable. These lions aren't just props, they're characters. Did you know that Rivière had a fascination with animal psychology? He didn't just study their physical movements, he wanted to understand their emotional responses too. This approach was revolutionary for his time, as most animal depictions in art were stiff and symbolic, not individual and expressive. His lions feel alive because he treated them as subjects with inner worlds of their own. Now the setting. Look at the walls, rough stone covered in carvings and hieroglyphics. They're more than just decoration. They're reminders of power and control, the empire that's trying to break Daniel's spirit. Then there's the floor, scattered with bones. Yeah, bones. It's not subtle. This is a place where others have met their end. The stakes, crystal clear. But here's the twist. In the middle of all this darkness, there's light. A soft glow that lands right on Daniel's figure. It's not a spotlight. It's something quieter, softer, symbolic. Divine protection? A sign of faith? It's up for debate, but whatever it is, it's not accidental. Speaking of setting, it's worth noting that Rivière's attention to architecture was no accident. He took inspiration from ancient Mesopotamian and Persian art, as these styles were closely tied to the biblical context of the story. The carvings and hieroglyphics on the walls aren't just random. They're visual cues linking the scene to a specific historical and cultural moment. By embedding these elements, Rivière grounds the story in a real, tangible world, making it feel more immediate and relatable. Now, let's break down where this moment comes from. We're diving into the book of Daniel. Quick recap. Daniel's a high-ranking official in King Darius's court. Smart, loyal, and unwavering in his faith. Naturally, some people aren't fans. His rival cooks up a plan. They convince the king to sign a law saying no one can pray to any god or man except the king himself. They're betting on one thing, Daniel's faith. And they're right. He's caught praying to his god, which of course means one thing, Lion's Den. But the story's twist? Daniel's god sends an angel to shut the lions' mouths, and by morning, Daniel's standing there, not a scratch on him. Here's something interesting. Did you know that the lion's den wasn't always depicted as a cave? Earlier artistic interpretations of this story sometimes placed Daniel in a pit-like structure, almost like a well, with lions looking down at him from above. Rivière's decision to depict a full enclosed chamber adds to the claustrophobic tension of the moment, making the scene feel more intimate and inescapable. So, how does Briton Rivière capture all of this? With precision, patience, and honestly, a bit of genius. See, Rivière didn't just guess what lions look like. He spent hours studying them at the zoo. Back then, zoos weren't just for tourists. They were like live reference libraries for artists. Rivière sketched lions, watched them move, watched them sit, and most importantly, watched them stare. And it's that stare that's the real showstopper in this painting. Every lion's gaze is unique. Some are curious, some are calculating, and some just seem hungry. There's also a story behind Riviere's process. He'd visit London's Regent's Park Zoo, notepad in hand, and sketch for hours. But he didn't just study lions. He watched wolves, foxes, and dogs too, as he believed understanding canine behavior could help him depict large felines more accurately. This cross-species study added depth and realism to his work. Another fascinating aspect of the biblical story is its theme of unwavering faith. Daniel's faith wasn't displayed through traditional prayer here. Unlike other depictions where he kneels in direct prayer, Rivière shows him standing, hands bound, facing his fate with quiet defiance. This isn't a plea for mercy, it's an unspoken declaration of trust. His calm posture reflects a deeper surrender, one that says, "I have already made peace with this moment." Riviere's ability to capture this moment of quiet rebellion is what makes the piece so timeless and powerful. The lions themselves are often seen as symbolic. In Christian theology, lions can represent trials, fears, or earthly powers that threaten to overwhelm a person. Here, each lion has a unique attitude. Some curious, some disinterested, and some tense. It's a reflection of how challenges in life aren't always uniform. Some seem indifferent, while others feel actively hostile. This variety adds depth to the scene, reminding viewers that not all obstacles are the same, but all can be faced with courage and faith. Let's go back to Daniel. He's in the middle of all this chaos, but he's a picture of stillness. No panic, no pleading. It's that calm, that quiet strength that's so striking. Riviere's decision to paint Daniel with his back to us is brilliant. It's not about seeing his face, it's about feeling his presence. His whole body language says, "I'm not afraid." You can't help but think, would I be that calm? If I were surrounded by literal lions, would I stand like that? Probably not. This approach of showing a character's back to the viewer wasn't unique to Rivière, but his execution was masterful. It's often used in art to create mystery or distance, but here it's a statement of quiet defiance. Daniel's back is to us because he's focused on something bigger than our gaze. He's focused on his faith. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, maybe it's about finding that calm in the chaos. Maybe it's about standing firm when everything around you is telling you to run. Or maybe it's just about recognizing that sometimes, even the wildest lions in your life aren't as unstoppable as they seem. If you've made it this far, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Daniel's answer to the king. If you're into uncovering the stories hidden in artworks like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for our next breakdown. There's always more to the story than what's on the surface. See you next time.